This is All of It on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. Sam Yo has lived many, many lives before he became a beloved fitness instructor. He was a successful musical theater actor, starring in The King and I on the West End. He worked on TV shows, including the famed British soap opera EastEnders. And perhaps most importantly, he trained as a Buddhist monk. When he left the monastery in Thailand, the lessons he took from his time there have remained with him throughout his life. Now he wants to share those lessons and teachings with readers everywhere in his new book, The Monk's Mindset, Finding Stillness in a World That Won't Stop Moving. Part memoir, part mindfulness guide, the book takes you through Sam's time at the monastery and also to help find some guidance and find some serenity in a hectic world. The Monk's Mindset was just published yesterday, and I'm joined now by Sam Yo. It is nice to meet you.
It's lovely to meet you. It's lovely to be here.
Before you became a monk, before you went to the monastery, you were in acting.
Yes.
Right?
Very different.
Why did you decide, well, first of all, why did you decide to go into acting?
So I've always loved movies and, film, but I also got into acting through dancing. So I used to dance, basically. I trained as a ballet dancer as well, so I think you can add that to your list. I trained ballet and contemporary. And then I got into a musical and I was on stage and I was, on the outside looking very successful externally, and internally I've always kind of felt disconnected from myself. Growing up first generation in London, I was never quite British enough in school and was never quite Thai enough. I went to Thailand because when I would speak Thai, I would speak with a distinct British accent and people heads would perk up. It's like, well, that doesn't sound right. So I kind of always felt like the other. So I found my belonging more in kind of trying to perform and trying to fit in every room. And, once you do that and once you're on stage, you're performing internally and externally. And, I was on this wild roller coaster of, entertainment industry for 3 years. And, I was on autopilot for those years. I was never in the moment, enjoying the moment. I was always kind of waiting for the next thing. And then there was one night where I did lose control of my car.
Yeah.
And, afterwards, spoiler, I survived. I'm okay. But afterwards, I remember sitting there and feeling so uncomfortable. And it wasn't the fact that what could have happened. It was the fact that for the first time in a long time, I was present with myself and felt very uncomfortable in my skin. And the question that was in my mind from that point on is, how much of my life have I not been present for? So I knew I had to change my environment somehow. And then when I was offered a new contract, I knew I had to leave and do something, but I didn't know what it was. And how
did you decide studying to be a monk would be your choice?
So I went to Sunday school in London. There's a beautiful temple in Wimbledon. If anyone's ever there, go to Wimbledon. There's a Thai temple. And I used to be taught tradition and language by monks. And I always had this thing about monks of knowing everything. If I had any questions or queries, I could just go to them and seek their knowledge. And it just happened that one day after I finished my job, I was at the temple with my mum and just standing at this lake in the temple grounds where I'd fallen into as a child when I was 10 years old. And I remember the sensation of feeling stuck as a child in the lake and still feeling stuck as an adult. But the feeling of being in the grounds of the monastery, the peace it gave me in that moment. And I thought, I need this peace. I need to find it somewhere. So on the drive back to my mum's house, I turned to my mum very matter of fact, said, Mum, I think I'll go to Thailand and become a monk.
And mom said?
Mum was like, I remember it, and she looked at me, because my mum's very serious and she doesn't joke and stuff. And so she's like, are you joking? I said, no, I think this is what I want to do. And the funny thing is that it was more believable for my Asian mother for me to dress up and play make-believe on stage. That was more acceptable and, within my space than me going to becoming a spiritual man. Because I never thought that was something I wanted to do. But I just knew I needed to remove myself from the environment and find something that was a little more quieter so I can kind of hear myself.
My guest is Peloton instructor, former Buddhist monk Sam Yo. We're discussing his new book, The Monk's Mindset, Finding Stillness in a World that won't stop moving. Listener, Sam is taking your calls. What questions do you have about mindfulness, meditation, his time as a Buddhist monk? Give us a call now at 212-433-9692, 212-433-WNYC. You can be on the air with Sam Yo. What is the biggest misconception that people have about monks? About
monks.
And your time in the Buddhist in the monastery?
So when I first went into the monastery, I expected to find peace and stillness. But when you first sit still with yourself for the first time, all you hear is noise. And it's the noise that you've been avoiding. And there was a lot of noise. And, and this has been building up from when I was growing up, for when my parents divorced. I detached myself emotionally not to kind of feel anything about that. So, people expect to be peaceful. It's not. And you need to go through this barrier first of accepting yourself and who you are and where you are. But what I found in the monastery, once I got rid of all that, was structure. And, in the monastery gave me structure. And a lot of us, when we're kids, we have structure. Structure is given to us. And as adults, we have physical structure, go to work, this and that, but we don't have emotional structure and mindful structure. How do we anchor ourselves within the day, within our physical structure? And what it is in my book is how we can do that with, I call them monk mindset moments. Just finding what moments to get into yourself and to talk to yourself about how I'm feeling and having more intention when you move through the day, because a lot of the time we're just reacting to things.
It's interesting. One thing I love about your book is there's sort of guidelines at the end of chapters to help people along the way. And I just wanted to say that out loud. It's a beautiful part of your book. What changed about the way you interacted with other people after your training?
So when I was in the monastery, what I realized from the outside was that a lot of us are just waiting to speak. I'm not actively listening. And what the monastery taught me was there's an art to listening. Every morning we'd have breakfast together, my monk brothers and I. There'll be 5 of us, and we'll sit in a circle. And what we'd do is that we'll pour tea. So when someone was talking, everyone else would be quiet, and they would just pour tea for that person. And what it is a lot of time we fill our own cup with our own voice, and we don't allow other people to fill it for us. So what we need to do, it's very Bruce Lee, is to empty our cup and allow that person to fill it in for us, and really not just listen, but connect in the moment with that person to make them feel seen. One
of the check-ins you include in your book involves the 4 dimensions.
Yes.
What are they?
So the 4 dimensions, we live in sort of 4 mindful dimensions. It's the body, the heart, the mind, and the spirit. So the body, of course, is our physical form, how we look after our body, movement, nutrition. And then we have the mind, which is our thoughts, and how do we navigate our thoughts. And I describe in the book as, every thought is a new library book that we place on our shelves. And sometimes those thoughts get outdated, or sometimes we need to dust off those thoughts or get rid of those books. So it's managing your mental health. And then the heart is emotion, your emotion of how do you regulate yourself emotionally? Do you talk to people? Because a lot of time we hold that all in, don't we? We hold it all in, all our emotions. And then one day it just explodes. And then we have spirit. So spirit is just not religious. It's purpose. It's, something that'll service that's bigger than you. And what tends to happen is when one of these dimensions I describe in the book, like sitting on a chair, four legs of a chair, say the body is off, the chair becomes uncomfortable, and you don't know why. So what we tend to do is get up and move to a new chair. Don't we? We don't fix the chair, do we?
No, right.
I'm going to get another chair. So you walk to another chair, and then you still have the same thing. You're kind of moving around that chair, and then eventually 2 legs start to rock, and then 3, we don't deal with it, and eventually the chair is going to get you crashing to the ground. So, we look after ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and have a sense of purpose. And, this 4 dimensions, they're all aligned with each other.
My guest is Sam Yo. We're discussing his new book, The Monk's Mindset, Finding Stillness in a World That Won't Stop Moving. Let's talk to Peg in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Oh, yes.
Hi, Peg. Thank you so much for taking the time to call all of it. You're on the air with Sam.
Hi, Sam. Thank you so much for taking my call also. I just thought that Sam could speak about how breathing has really, because Sam is a true blessing in my life. I've crossed the ocean 10 times last year to see him. The breathing and his voice. This book, by the way, is also going to be an audiobook. And I thought we could point that out. Maybe Sam could speak to how it was creating an audiobook.
Oh, hi, Nana Peg. How are you?
Oh, I'm thrilled to hear your voice, Sam.
I'm thrilled to hear your voice as well, Nana Peg. Lovely. Nana Peg comes and visits me in London. She comes all the way to London to do classes with me in our London studio. And Nana Peg is known in our London studio for her amazing brownies. So just to point this out, Nana Peg, she always brings brownies, and I share it with all the staff at my work in PSL. So with the audiobook, it was very strange for me reading the book. Because, when you write it and then you kind of lead these chapters. So reading it, I was kind of experiencing for the first time as well. And like, oh my gosh, yes, this. And it allowed me to take myself back into that moment. So when I did read it, I hope there's the emotion of where I was those 25 years ago when these stories were in my journals to how I was reading it in the moment in time. And I hope that comes across. And I really enjoyed it. It was a very new experience for me as well. And having my voice in my ears makes me very self-conscious. I know you must get overtime, Alice.
I'm used to that.
So before I came in, I was like, should I have a radio voice when I come on?
It's Radio Sam.
Yeah.
I have a text here that says, thank you, Sam, for hours of sweaty serenity on the bike in our basement gym. Can you say a bit about the place music occupies in your mind-body connection and your Peloton classes? It's clearly more for you than just a cadence.
Yes. So, music is medicine, and that's something I believe. And the thing is, when I was in the monastery, I didn't have music. And that was the thing apart from my family, I missed the most was music. It wasn't like I could put on a Backstreet Boys record in the monastery. I don't think they would allow me to do that. I mean, I didn't try, but I mean, I didn't want to overstep the boundaries with my mentors. So, when I do these playlists, I'm so blessed because we have an amazing music team at Peloton, and they're able to get the rights to all this catalog, and I'm just a kid in the playground. There's so much there. But when I do my playlist, part of me is like, okay, how is this going to sound? But I really want to think about, okay, how is this going to feel when you're on the bike, when you're breathing? How is this going to make you feel? I'm going to push you to exhaustion by this track. So the next track then needs to be a bit light and shade. So I need to bring your feeling down somehow. It's great that you can have, great high tempo music for every single track, but then you're going to be up here all the time. But that's the thing with life, is there's the ups and downs, and we're going through this journey together. So when I choose a playlist, it's not just how we listen to it; it's how we feel when we listen to it.
I'm curious about your thoughts about mindfulness, because for some people, it's become a little bit of a buzzword. For other people, it's very meaningful. What does it mean to you?
So I know there's kind of this commercialization around mindfulness and
wellness.
Yeah. And sometimes when people hear the word mindfulness, they think of, it's going to be spiritual, and I've got to, sit on top of a mountain meditating with a waterfall and Kenny G in the background playing. It's not that. And, and if you do think that, then you just got to kind of shift your perspective on the word. So instead of thinking of it as mindfulness, think of it as awakefulness. How much are you awake in your day? Or how much are you just reacting in your day? So mindfulness is just that. It's just moving through your day with intention and not rushing through the moments that you should celebrate. Especially as adults as well, we don't celebrate ourselves enough. We wait for some big events. When I finish this project in 3 months, I'll celebrate something. But you got to celebrate with tiny little steps. Tiny little steps. As children, we celebrate everything. Our first steps. The first time we go to the toilet by ourselves. We celebrate all these little things. And as adults, we need to do this just to remind ourselves to be present and to enjoy life instead of just moving through it.
It was funny because I took your class this morning.
Oh, yeah?
And it was interesting because you said calm the mind. Like, don't worry about your body, calm the mind. I found that very interesting. Why do you tell your people who are exercising their bodies to calm their mind?
Because, if the mind is centered, then the body can push harder. And, there's a lot of amazing coaches, instructors there, and they like hype you up. Yeah, come on, let's go. You can do this, So other instructors hype you up. I ground you down. So I ground you down, So the more grounding you have, the more you can push, the more leverage you have. Because I found, growing up as, I did a lot of athletics and through ballet and through personal training and through playing a lot of football, that, it's great that the coach is going to be at that level with you. But the thing is, as a coach, you don't want to be at the same level as the athlete that you're training. You want to be behind them, supporting them. And when I ground you down, a lot of people feel like, oh, I've just done a new personal best, but I'm not tired at all. That's because I spent the whole time testing you, but grounding you at the same time.
Everybody right now, what is one thing they can do to either achieve mindfulness or to quiet the mind, or something they can do that will set them off before they read your book?
One thing they can do?
Yes, just one thing they can do, very simply.
Gratitude. I love this. So sometimes, gratitude has the power to kind of break that autopilot in our head about negativity and just bring us into the moment and enjoy the things we have around us. So every morning when you're drinking your coffee, just hold the coffee cup and feel the warmth. And when you feel the warmth, that physical sensation, associate with something you're grateful for in your day. Just one element of gratitude to start your day. And that's the first building block to stay intentional. It could be the cup. It could be your children. It could be the job that you love. It could be just the fact that you're showing up today. Anything. So start with gratitude, holding your coffee cup and that warmth.
The name of the book is The Monk's Mindset, Finding Stillness in a World That Won't Stop Moving. It is by Sam Yo. Thank you for coming to the studio. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. This is my first ever radio. I'm so excited.
You did great.
Thank you.